5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hey guys, what's up?
What's up, everybody?
I'm Mike.
I'm Noelle. Welcome to DisabiliTEA.
Yes. This is going to be definitely a hard episode to do, but an important one. Before we get into that, though, we just want to get this out of the way, in a good way. Thank you so much for the love for our first episode last week.
Yeah, it means so much. Yeah. I think we were both really nervous. I mean, I know I was nervous. Just, settling into this, getting in the swing of it. So it means a lot that, just you guys are so sweet, and I hope that you gained something out of us. So thank you for caring.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
Or maybe if you didn't like it, that's okay too. Maybe we'll get better.
Yeah, let us know. We had a little technical difficulties with the comment section, but it's up now. So, especially for this episode, because we're going to be getting into some tough subject matter. Again, please feel free to comment below if you've missed anything.
Yeah.
If you feel like we could have done better, whatever. We're always open.
And also just
for conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, comment.
And suggestions.
Yeah, comment things you want us to do. Really, all the ideas, because of course we could come up with a bunch of things that, we find interesting, but I think I always like some inspiration. So, give us suggestions.
Again, it's a safe space here.
My stomach just growled.
That was my stomach.
Oh, was that yours?
Yes, but anyways,
That was mine.
I'm trying to save you there. But anyways.
Oh, thanks.
Just again, thank you so much, guys, for the love. Again, right now we're on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. I know we're trying to get onto everything though. I'm kind of troubleshooting that.
Yeah.
Obviously, and the rest of our socials, our Instagram, stuff like that, will be in the description as well. But
But yeah, really, thank you so much. It made my day. Seeing how excited everyone was, and it was melted my heart. So
yeah, we gotta.
Thank you guys.
I have good hopes for this podcast, but we definitely. We had altogether 200 views between YouTube and everything else. So
popular.
For a 3-hour podcast, why not? So.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys.
Yep, thank you. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, so. I'm still not sure what I'm going to be titling this podcast, but I don't think I'm going to, put any, I don't really want to clickbait any, stuff in regards to serious stuff like this. So, if you weren't here last week, we did talk about it. We did give a warning and say how we were going to want to talk about it this week.
Yeah.
We will be talking about a lot of hard, triggering subject matter. Honestly, some of the most evil stuff that you could do in this world. So, huge trigger warning. The majority of this episode is going to be discussing the shootings that have been happening in America.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know, me and all are American. We live in New Jersey. And, so we're going to kind of be,
Yes.
talking about that stuff first.
So just to trigger, talking about shootings, violence, hate, evil, racism.
Yeah, racism.
Really just the most awful thing. So we want to make sure we point that out. If you're not in the right headspace to listen to that right now, that's okay. But we obviously now we have to talk about it because it's very much ignored because, look at where we are still, in a terrible world, so, yeah.
Honestly, terrible world, mainly terrible America, because that's where stuff like this
that's what I mean.
Really happens,
That's what
there's other stuff, obviously the world's not perfect either,
no, but
it's
America.
I mean, you'll see. I'm pretty sure the thumbnail is going to be that stat about how, like, the America had like almost 300 mass shootings so far this year,
Yeah.
and I think the next country below that was like in the teens.
Yep.
So not even close.
Yeah. No.
So yeah, so America is an outlier when it comes to this. But yeah, so and we we talked about this last week. We want to make it its own episode for a couple reasons. Now we will be talking about serious stuff in the future as well. But
this just feels like too serious. It's people's lives. We don't want to mix it with other things, you know?
Yeah, so there's two reasons why I think it's important and also, I'm not thinking of the right word, but a better idea to do it this way, just because, first of all, obviously we want to talk about it. We want to bring the stuff to light. It's important to talk about. Like we said in the first episode, me and all don't feel comfortable talking about stuff that's going on in the world and then not acknowledging stuff that's really going on,
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel right. It's like, why are you ignoring that,
Yeah.
So that's that. But also, I was thinking about it. I was like, let's go, like, when we do talk about, stuff as serious as this, let's go hardcore into it. Let's devote a whole episode into it. Let's, I spent the whole night last night and the nights prior gathering as much facts and stats and stuff like that I could gather from all reputable sources, and that way, once we have kind of an episode on it, whenever people ask our opinion on gun control and stuff like this in the future, God forbid it happens again, which it's almost guaranteed to happen again with America, which is disgusting unless we make some change. That way we can just tell people, hey, watch episode 2. We get all into that and stuff like that. So again, huge trigger warning. I'm also I should have said this in the last episode. I think I forgot. I will be timestamping all episodes. I timestamped the last episode.
Yeah.
Timestamped this one. So let's just say you're okay with hearing one thing, but then not okay with hearing another. I will be timestamping each topic we talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also I would also like to say, I would obviously like to. I mean, in the perfect world, it'd be nice to get to every single shooting and injustice that has happened. But right now, just obviously with the podcast format, we only have a couple, 2 to 3 hours to do this, and unfortunately in America it's happening not only every day but multiple times every day. It's going to be impossible to go deep into everything, so we're really just covering the two I don't want to say major ones, that's not the right word for it, but the two of the bigger ones that happened.
Most recent.
Yeah, but it's not
not even most recent, but
well, ones that had the most victims.
Yeah.
And that has obviously been circling in the news lately, and that would be the Buffalo shooting and the Uvalde shooting.
Yeah.
But I also do highlight some other ones. But again, so please forgive us for that. And then also, again, we said this in our first episode. We'll say this always and forever every time we talk about difficult subject matter like this. When we're talking about difficult things, especially things that aren't necessarily in our demographic, like racism and stuff like that, because the Buffalo shooting was an act of racism, terrorism. We'll get into that. There's actual facts regarding that. We're two white people, so we can only give our opinion based on two white people. So.
And I feel what our biggest thing is we can't speak from any experience, and I think we just want to uplift and speak the facts so that hopefully people could realize how serious this is. I don't know how people haven't based on how long all of these issues have been going on, but yeah, we never want to speak because it's not our pain and it's not our experience, and it never will be. So.
Yeah. I mean, we have pain for our,
Right.
black brothers and sisters and friends,
Of course.
So, but yeah, obviously it's it's not us,
Yeah.
So, and we talked about it in the future. We would, especially if this podcast, ends up getting bigger, we get more resources. We would love to have people who, are experts in the certain subject matter that we're discussing. Please, anybody that might watch us and has something to say, comment below.
Yeah.
We would love to, even if we could acknowledge in future episodes, we're gonna be learning and growing every week as we do this podcast, and we would love for you guys to kind of join us on that journey.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna be perfect, we're but we're gonna definitely try. I promise, we're gonna try our hardest to be our best and do justice.
Always.
So yeah, is there anything else you want to say?
No, I don't think so. I think you did everything.
Okay, and then the last thing I want to discuss before we get so I am going to, the way I have it set up, the podcast is it's probably going to be a good chunk. It could be 20 to 40 minutes, but we're going to discuss the actual facts and the timeline of events from May 14th, which is the Buffalo shooting, up until today.
Yeah.
So, I'll be going through all the facts and details, as much as I was able to gather. Again, if I missed anything, please let me know. If I got anything wrong, please let me know.
Yeah.
I tried using the most reputable sources,
Yeah.
Associated Press, everything. I literally pulled a little bit from everything. Buffalo News, CBS, CNN, everything, Washington Post. So I always try to double check my, fact checking my stuff. But anyways, after and there's a reason why we're also going into the details. You'll see why, just because they're truly horrifying. It's important to talk about how horrifying these things are because it's what happened.
It's reality.
We can't censor this, and maybe it might click with some people if you actually talk about the disgusting things that in detail.
Yeah.
It might click with some people. Hopefully,
it can't be ignored.
Yeah. So that's how we'll be doing it. We'll be talking facts first, and then we'll be giving our opinion. But before we get into that, I do want to share 2 GoFundMes. And there is a couple GoFundMes out there that you could, not only these 2. I'm pretty sure, I was checking, if you search Buffalo, Buffalo shooting GoFundMe or Uvalde, shooting on GoFundMe, they actually verify each one, and they give you a list. So you only have to do these 2, but these are the two that I found and that I know of, and that is the Buffalo 514 Survivors Fund. That is for the victims and the survivors of, the families of the victims, of a fund that help them with any expenses or stuff like that. And then another GoFundMe I shared is, and I'll be putting this in the description as well, is the Texas Elementary School Shooting Victims Fund, which, again, is to all the victims and survivors and their family members and stuff like that. So
yeah, I just want to add to that too. Obviously, if you could donate to these, that would be amazing. But if you can't, I think it's super important to share these, but also sign petitions about gun control and gun laws. I know there's, I'll see if I don't have it on me right now, but there's like a number that you could send a text to that will keep you updated and informed with your local people in your state about things happening with gun laws and petitions to sign and stuff. I'll see if I can find that because I have it. But do stuff like that. it needs to be done, like truly.
Yeah, well,
And even if you're just one person, it's something that we all should do.
listen, we all can make a difference, and while I
Yeah.
understand that, unfortunately, especially in America, it feels like one person can't make a difference. And I mean, look at it. Right now, you have, the Democrats. They are a majority House, right? They'll pass a bill, but then this dies in the Senate because the Senate is Republican majority. So I definitely understand that. Like sometimes, and especially with voting, with the whole electoral college and stuff like that, it feels like your vote doesn't matter. You know, whatever. There's definitely flaws in our system, of course, but don't use that as an excuse as not to try. You
Yeah.
know, and you have just it's better to do something than nothing.
Yeah.
And
And it doesn't always have to be donating money, Of course, I wish not everyone, we all, don't have the means
the luxury
to give money, and it'd be great to go straight to the source of, like, the people that were affected. But if you could do something else, like signing a petition or educating yourself on this, like, that is a difference, because you're doing something that many other people honestly aren't. So
yeah. Yeah, there's multiple ways to help. It's not only gonna can be, monetarily. You could do it just sharing. And this is why, again, kind of bring it full circle. Why me and Noel felt it was important to talk about this, because this could also be our way of helping. It's better to talk about it than not to.
Yeah.
And again, like I've had other co-hosts before Noel like that. And again, they're valid. I don't blame them. And it's scary. It's scary. I'm nervous. I'm definitely nervous right now, but it's important. Especially if you end up doing a show in this format. Which that's what me and Noir are doing. It's so you want to talk about important stuff, not only silly stuff.
Yeah.
So. All right, so yeah, so that again, those two GoFundMe's, I'll put them in the description below, as well as everything else we'll be discussing, in today's episode, and yeah, again, trigger warning. We will be discussing everything regarding the shootings into great detail. We'll be talking about death, violence, racism, mental health, all those triggering thoughts. So big trigger warning. And again, if you want to skip that stuff, even though it's going to be hard to, because that's what we'll be discussing for most of the episode. But what to say, for whatever reason, the Buffalo shooting affected you more than the Uvalde one, or vice versa, we'll have timestamps for everything we talk about.
Yeah.
And if this is too much for you to watch, we don't blame you either.
Yeah.
So, do you want me to start?
Sure.
All right. At around 2:30 p.m. local time on May 14th, an active shooter situation was called in at a Tops supermarket in a predominantly black neighborhood in Buffalo, New York. The shooter was also live streaming during the massacre on Twitch.
On the live stream, it was seen that the shooter had written the N-word on the front of the rifle. It could be heard that he said, "Just go for it, right? It's the end right here. I'm going in," and then started his evilness. Also in the video, at one point it shows he aimed at a white person hiding behind a checkout counter, but said, "Sorry," and didn't shoot. Twitch was able to take the live stream down within 2 minutes. The violence, however, lasted another 4 minutes. In those 6 minutes, he was able to kill 10 and injure 3. 11 of the victims were black.
At 2:36 p.m., again local time, the cops arrived and surrounded the front of the store. The shooter walked out and started to take off his protective gear. He then had his rifle pointed at his neck before eventually dropping it and getting tackled by police. While being arrested, it was reported that he was spewing his racist ideologies and why he did what he did.
The shooter was 18 years old. He drove over 200 miles from his town to the predominantly black community to carry his violence. He had written a 180-page manifesto where he described himself as a fascist and white supremacist.
In the document, it was stated how he was radicalized around 2020 and he would join online far right groups and message boards such as 4chan and other places like that.
Just some of the things he read while in these groups were white replacement theory, anti-Semitism, Nazism, and Holocaust denial. So much more.
Again, if you want to, I feel like most of these things are pretty straightforward, but if you're not familiar with white replacement theory, it's a ridiculous conspiracy theory that, sorry, it's a fact, but a lot of Republicans tend to believe that the government, especially the U.S. government, is trying to replace white people with foreigners so that the Democrats could have a majority, voter. It's ridiculous. You could look all that stuff up we talked about. But a year prior, during his senior year of high school, he was sent to a mental health hospital, the shooter, after his answer to the prompt, "What do you plan on doing after you graduate?" He answered, "A murder-suicide." He was released only a day and a half later after he claimed it was just a joke.
Also, in his so-called manifesto, he claims he thinks that's how he was able to purchase the gun legally, by claiming he was just joking.
It is also reported that he explained in the manifesto how he chased and decapitated a cat, which his mother later helped him bury.
He had the shooting planned for months and actually visited the tops a few times prior to scope the grounds.
The shooter was arrested and was taken in alive and is facing multiple counts of murder.
Here are the 10 victims that were killed.
Aaron Salter, former Buffalo Police Lieutenant Aaron Salter, 55, worked as a security guard at the Tops supermarket. Aaron died a hero trying to stop the shooter and protect others in the community. Aaron fired at the attacker, striking him once, but the bullet was caught in the body armor. The shooter then returned fire, murdering Aaron. I also would like to say this is the victims are in no order. I pulled this from NPR website, and this is how it was listed. So that's my resource for this NPR.
Ruth Whitfield. Whitfield was 86 and was the mother of a retired Buffalo Fire Commissioner. It was reported that Ruth had visited her husband in a nursing home near the store. She was picking up a few items and never made it out of the supermarket. Ruth Whitfield was a beloved wife, mother, and grandmother, and was her husband's primary caretaker.
Also, if you get any names wrong, pronounce them wrong, please forgive us. We'll be trying to do our best. All right, next person. Catherine Macy. Cat Macy, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, was 72, was a member of the community group We Are Women Warriors. The group held a forum in February to discuss ways to tackle youth violence after an incident in the local high school. A year earlier, the group organized a giveaway of masks and PPE for people in Buffalo. Her sister Barbara told the Buffalo News that Catherine was a beautiful soul. Kat had written for both the Buffalo Challenger and the Buffalo Criterion newspapers, which were established to serve the city's black residents. According to the Buffalo News, Kat was a frequent writer of letters to the editor of in that newspaper as well. In May 2021, she wrote about what she called the escalating gun violence in Buffalo and in many major U.S. cities. She wrote, "There needs to be an extensive federal action / legislation to address all aspects of this issue," her letter to the Buffalo News read. "We lost a voice yesterday. We lost a powerful, powerful voice," Kat's longtime friend Betty Jean Grant told the paper.
Pearlie Young. Young was 77, ran a weekly food pantry. For 25 years, she ran a pantry where every Saturday she fed people in Central Park. Every Saturday. I don't know. I think that meant to say
No,
every.
no, every Saturday she.
Oh, I'm sorry. I messed that up.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
Sorry, no, you're fine.
Every Saturday, she loved singing, dancing, and being with family. She was a mother, grandma, and missionary.
Hayward Patterson. Hayward Patterson was 67 years old. He worked as a driver who gave rides to residents to and from the grocery store and would help them with their groceries. Hayward attended church regularly and would stand at the doorway to welcome people in the service on Sundays, the Buffalo News reported. Patterson was the church pastor's armor bearer, and would volunteer to clean the church every Saturday, according to the paper. And he also spent time in the soup kitchen. He would give the shirt off his back, his wife told the Buffalo News. That's who he is. He wouldn't hurt anybody. Whatever he had, he'd give it to you. You ask, he'll give it. If you don't got it, he'll make a way to get it, or send you to the person that can give it to you. He's going to be missed a lot.
Celestine Cheney.
Celestine.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry if I pronounced.
Well, oh yeah, I'll also say this because you're not. I'm editing this. I have all the pictures of their faces and their names as well, so they'll also be up here. So you can also, look them up if you want.
Yeah. Celestine Cheney was 65 and was at the grocery store to get shrimp and strawberry shortcake. Celestine was a grandmother to 6 and had a great-grandchild. She was also a cancer survivor. She prized her role as a grandmother most of all, the Buffalo News reported, with her grandchildren ranging in age from 4 to 28. She was a regular churchgoer and enjoyed playing bingo and shopping. She was probably the sweetest person you can meet, her daughter told the paper. Very loving, very giving, very kind.
Roberta Drury, again, sorry if I got that name wrong. Roberta was 32. She was at the supermarket to get food for dinner. She often shopped for her adopted brother, Christopher Moyer, and his family, who lived near the Tops grocery store. Moyer is recovering from leukemia, he told NPR. She would go to Tops for all of us all the time, actually, Moyer said. We don't really have family in the area, so it was just a great help that she could do something for us like that. She was very vibrant, her sister Amanda told the New York Times. She always was the center of attention and made the whole room smile and laugh. Roberta had lived in Syracuse area, but was in Buffalo to be with her brother, according to Syracuse.com.
Marcus D. Morrison. Morrison was 52 and was the father of 3 children. Their mother told local TV news, WKBW.
Andre McNeil. Andre was 53 years old, and he lived in Auburn, New York. He was engaged to marry Tracy Lynn McGuliwicz, I hope I got that name right, who said on Saturday that Andre died on their son's 3rd birthday, according to Auburn newspaper The Citizen. Andre had gone to the Tops to pick up a surprise birthday cake. His cousin told The Citizen he didn't make it out alive.
Geraldine Talley. The 62-year-old lived in Buffalo.
And that was, those were the, again, 10 victims, I believe. And, sorry if some of the victims that we talked about had shorter descriptions than others. That was just all according to NPR. It was the only website that I found that kind of went in depth into each person's story. And I think it's important to talk about that stuff just because it's more than just, oh, these are just names on a piece of paper. These are just another statistic, even though you should never think like that. But I just thought it was nice how NPR put also, a little bio about who these people were. And, these are all real people who had family, friends, and loved ones,
They had hobbies and passions, and that should be talked about.
Yep. Alright. Just a day later, on May 15th, there was a shooting in Amarillo, Texas. 5 people were shot at a nightclub. One of those which were killed. There were 4 more mass shooting events just that day.
Houston, Texas, 5 shot, 2 killed at a flea market.
Laguna Woods, California, 6 shot, 1 of which were killed at a church. Shooter was an anti-Taiwanese extremist.
Elizabeth City, North Carolina, 4 shot, 2 teenagers and 2 juveniles at a house.
Winston-Salem, North Carolina, 7 shot, gunfire was exchanged.
That was just May 15th mass shooting, which Wikipedia's definition of a mass shooting is where 3 or more people are shot in a single incident.
Yeah, so that was just May 15th, the day after the Buffalo shooting, May 14th. Yeah, and again, this is all the research I was able to do. If we're leaving anything out, please let us know.
Please.
But yeah, this is where I found some pretty reputable sites. And yeah, all the shootings that we're talking about are where at least 3 people were shot. So that means even if there was people were just, I don't want to say just, but where 2 people were shot, then they're not even on the list. So this is just 3 or more. So there could be very well be even more than that, So, all right, let's keep going. May 17th, East Palo Alto, California, 4 shot, 1 killed at a park.
May 18th, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 5 shot in a neighborhood, including a teenager.
May 19th, Houston, Texas, 4 shot, all 4 killed. Estranged husband opens fire on wife, daughter, and mother-in-law before shooting and killing himself.
May 19th, Chicago, Illinois, 10 shot, 2 killed in an altercation between 2 groups of teenagers.
May 20th, Kissimmee, Florida, 4 shot, 1 of which were killed in a drive-by shooting.
May 20th, New Orleans, Louisiana, 4 shot, 1 killed in a neighborhood.
May 20th again, San Bernardino, California, 10 shot, 1 of which were killed at an after-prom party.
May 21st, Goshen, Indiana, 5 shot, 2 killed at home.
May 21st, Tacoma, Washington, 4 shot in the South End area.
May 22nd, Riverside, Alabama, 4 shot, 4 killed. Husband kills 2 teenage daughters and his wife before shooting and killing himself. May
22nd, San Juan, Puerto Rico, which Puerto Rico is a territory of U.S., so we have similar laws, and we could, if we change our laws federally, I'm pretty positive it will affect their laws as well. So, San Juan, Puerto Rico, 5 shot, all 5 of which were killed at a housing complex.
May 23rd, North Charleston, South Carolina, 5 shot in a shooting at a nightclub.
May 23rd, Cleveland, Ohio, 5 shot during a memorial service in the neighborhood.
And then that leads us to Uvalde.
Yeah, so between May 14th, which was the Buffalo shooting, and May 24th, which was the Uvalde shooting, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, at least 13 mass shooting events in America in a 10-day span. Yep. So, and and the reason why I also put there, where they happened as well, is because this is a broader issue. I mean, in the end of the day, it's all, gun control. We'll get into our opinions, obviously, but this is happening. We're in danger everywhere. This is happening at schools. This is happening at parks. This is happening at parties, houses, clubs. It's hospitals.
Everywhere.
So, All right, but now we're going to be talking about Uvalde. All right. The morning of May 24th at around 11 a.m. local time. Local. When I say local time, that means of the time where the event happens. So in this case, Texas. But at 11 a.m. local time, an 18-year-old got in an argument with his grandmother over a phone bill at their home in Uvalde, Texas, which eventually led to the grandson to grab a rifle and shoot his grandmother in the face.
He then fled the scene in his grandmother's Ford pickup truck, taking with him his two AR-15 style rifles, which he obtained legally.
The grandmother survived and sought help from neighbors while police officers were called in. She was then airlifted to a hospital in San Antonio in critical condition.
Using his Facebook account, he sent 3 private messages to a 15-year-old girl from Germany whom he had met online prior to the shooting. The first to say that he was going to shoot his grandmother, a second to say that he had shot his grandmother, and a third, about 15 minutes before the shooting, to say that he was going to open fire at an elementary school. A spokesperson for Meta, the parent company of Facebook, said the posts were private one-to-one text messages discovered after the shooting took place.
The shooter then crashed his grandmother's truck, through a barricade and into a concrete ditch outside Robb Elementary School at 11:28 a.m. local time.
According to police, he wore a tactical vest for carrying ammunition, which did not include ballistic protection or armor insert panels, a backpack, and all black clothing, while carrying an AR-15 style rifle and 7 30-round magazines. He brought into the school only one of the 2 rifles that he legally bought and left the other in the crashed truck. A witness said he first fired at 2 people at a nearby funeral home, both of whom escaped uninjured.
Police reported receiving 911 calls about a vehicle having crashed near the school. After hearing of the 911 call, a school resource officer drove to the school's campus and pursued a teacher who they, how do you pronounce that? Erroneously believed to be the gunman, driving past the actual gunman in the process.
At 11:30 a.m. local time, the first 911 call in regards to the shooting, placed by a teacher who saw while the U.S. Marshal Service received a call for assistance from a Uvalde police officer. The teacher enters the school through a propped open door and shuts the door, but the door does not lock itself, despite being designed to do so.
At 11:31 a.m., the shooter, who was outside of the school, began shooting into the classrooms. At the same time, a patrol officer arrives.
At approximately 11:33 a.m., the shooter enters the school through the same door and begins shooting in interconnected classrooms 111 and 112.
After entering the building, the shooter walked down 2 short hallways and then entered a classroom that was internally connected to another classroom. A survivor of the shooting said that as the teacher, Irma Garcia, attempted to lock the door to the classroom, he shot the door's window, then backed Garcia into the classroom and said "good night" as he shot and killed her. Another survivor recounted that said, I didn't want to say his name, it's annoying, that the shooter said,
I know.
The shooter said, you're all going to die," after entering the classroom. He then opened fire on the rest of the students and another teacher in the room. According to a surviving student, the shooter played sad music before the shooting began. All of the fatalities, including the students and 2 teachers, were located in the 4th grade classroom where he locked the door. I'll make sure to bleep out when I said his name by accidentally.
I think I did too.
Yeah.
And I don't want to.
I'll bleep it out.
Okay. The majority of the shooting occurred inside the building within the first few minutes. The shooter was in the building for 40 to 60 minutes while armed police remained outside the classroom and building. Multiple students played dead while the shooting took place, including one student, 11-year-old Maya Cerrillo, who smeared herself with the blood of one of her dead classmates to give credence to the subterfuge. According to a student who hid in the adjoining classroom, the shooter came in and slightly crouched down, saying it's time to die, before opening fire. Afterwards, a responding officer called out, "Yell if you need help." A girl in the adjoining classroom said, "Help." The shooter heard the girl, entered the classroom, and shot her. The student said that the officer then barged into the classroom, and the shooter fired at the officer, causing more officers to return fire. Officers arrived 4 minutes after the shooter entered the school and attempted to make entry, but they retreated after he fired at them. Officers were not successful in establishing negotiations.
At 12:50 p.m., over 80 minutes after the onslaught began, Border Patrol officers used a janitor's master key to unlock the door the shooter had locked, and they entered the classroom. The shooter was in the closet, kicks open the door, and starts shooting. The officers opened fire and killed him.
19 students and 2 teachers were murdered in the massacre.
The teachers were Irma Garcia, 48,
and Eva Morales, 44.
The 19 students were, again, please forgive us if we get this wrong, Nevea Bravo.
Nevea.
Wait, Nevea? Oh my god, my eyes are so bad. Nevea Bravo, 10.
Jacqueline Jalen Caceres, 9.
McKenna Lee Elrod, 10.
Jose Flores, 10.
Eliana, sorry, my eyes are so bad. Eliana Garcia, 9.
Uzziah Garcia, 9.
Emery? Emery?
I'm so sorry for
Joe,
saying it.
yeah, again, we'll put all the people up. Emery Joe Garza, 10.
Xavier Javier Lopez, 10.
Jace Carmelo Luevanos, again, please forgive us, 10.
Tess Marie Mata, 10.
Miranda Mathis, 11.
Alithia Ramirez, 10.
Annabelle Guadalupe Rodriguez, 10.
Mady Yelena Rodriguez, 10.
Alexandria Ania Rubio, right, 10.
Layla Salazar, 11.
And Jayla Nicole Silguero, 11. Hi, Mike here. I'm currently editing the video, and thank God I caught this because I would have been really upset. But when we originally recorded the video, we stopped at 17 and didn't mention the other 2 victims. And I believe that's because the article that had like all their obituaries and their pictures that I was using, the other 2 victims weren't confirmed yet. So I'm going to go add that in myself now. I do apologize, but the other 2 victims were Eliana Cruz Torres and Rogelio Torres. I apologize once again if I got those names wrong, but those were the 19 students that were killed.
The children were in the 3rd and 4th grades. The teachers taught in the same 4th grade classroom.
This was the 3rd deadliest school shooting in the United States, after the Virginia Tech shooting in 2007 and the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting in 2012.
Before tactical units arrived, police officers inside the school, who numbered at least 19, made no effort to breach the room where the shooter was located, according to the Texas Department of Public Safety. According to DPS, the decision to wait for tactical units to to arrive was based on the false belief that the shooter had been isolated to a classroom where he could do no more harm. This decision was made by the incident commander, identified as Pedro Arredondo, the Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District Chief of Police. Police arrested and handcuffed one mother who drove to the school after hearing about the shooting, which prevented her from trying to save her children.
There has been 37 mass shooting events, at least 37 mass shooting events since Uvalde, as of today, the day we're filming, June 7th. And that's what I have written. So, there's a lot to unpack here. First and foremost, again, I butchered definitely a couple names there, so we apologize. We'll be putting, I'll make sure in post, as we're discussing the victims, we'll be putting them in the video with their names, so you could see them and find them if you're interested. I believe also most of the victims have their own GoFundMes as well, just like help with their expenses and funerals and stuff like that. But yeah, so I was really hard.
Yeah.
But I think if you guys were kind of, or I can hope that, as you guys were listening to the events and what we had written here, that you if you didn't know the information before, you are shocked and disturbed by the things that we talked about. The reason why I listed every single shooting that happened again between Buffalo and Uvalde is because it's nuts. It's nuts. This doesn't happen in other countries. It really doesn't. And the reason why I also wanted to talk about each of the victims is because these are real people.
These are kids.
Yeah, but even the Buffalo shooting, these are grandparents, these are friends, these are lovers, these are mothers, these are fathers. I feel like there's stats that I've seen that it is like a bipartisan, that most people, even Republicans, do want some sort of better gun control. But still, there's that percentage of people that are just heartless.
Yeah.
The fact that they had and they continue to still have that NRA convention just a couple days, and I believe it was in Houston. It was in Texas. I know that for a fact. Just a couple days after the Uvalde shooting, the deadliest shooting, school shooting in Texas history. That's what it says listed here. But if not the deadliest, one of the.
Yeah.
It's just, how could you be so tone deaf? Nobody pulled out. Everyone went. Ted Cruz went. I believe Donald Trump went. Nobody really pulled out, and there's a lot to really unpack here.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
No, I think I want to start off by talking about just something that I'm really feeling. I think we all, and this is one of the saddest parts about this, is we've been so desensitized to this because this is happening. This has been happening for my entire life and beyond. I'm 19, and I remember distinctly, my first, I remember doing drills in school and lockdowns since, I could remember. But something that I really, really remember that hit me that this is happening was the Sandy Hook shooting.
I remember the day
that was my birthday. I'm pretty sure it happened on my birthday.
No, it didn't. I remember.
And I was 10. And at the time I was sick. So I was home from school. And I remember I was only 10. And it's on the news and I'm seeing these little kids were killed. And that was like the first time I really was like afraid of like.
And you were 8?
I was 10.
Wait, what?
I was 10.
It happened in 2012.
Oh, was I? Was it? I thought I turned 10.
No, it happened in 2012. I was in middle school.
Wait.
I was 12, turning 13. So
Oh.
you were, possibly 9. Well, you turned 9. It was your birthday, so you were 9.
No, I remember I was turning 10. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It doesn't
I'll
matter.
look it up just to make sure.
I was young. But I remember that was like the first time. And I mean, how sad is it that like children have to be exposed to this kind of fear? That like you should be afraid to go to school.
December 14th, 2012.
Yeah. That you should be afraid to go to school. And that's when it really, hit me at a very young
For the first time.
age. But what did we do? Everyone moved on from it. Like, because look at where we are. Like, nothing was done. Nothing was done. Thoughts and prayers were sent. And I'm so sick of that. I'm so sick of the people who, believe that guns are so needed and they're the rights of freedom. And I just don't. And let's send thoughts and prayers and think of the victims. You're not doing anything. You are not doing anything. You are the problem.
Yep.
And God and prayers is not the answer to this. And it never will be. And I think that's just what I wanted to start off with. Is that I'm so sick of that.
Well, first off, if you really believe in God, you would know that, you have the power to do the right thing, and that's the reason why, these godly people say, don't sin, don't sin. So clearly, people have the ability, with or without God, to do good or bad things, so listen, I'm just gonna be straight up right now. America has a problem. America has a really deep problem. I definitely I'm a realist, but I try to be optimistic as much as I can, because that's, it's really the only way you could survive, especially, me and Lyle growing up the way we did, having to overcome, obviously being disabled and things like that. If you're not optimistic, you're just gonna you're gonna give up on life. And there was a point where I wasn't optimistic. So, I try to be hopeful, and it's just disgusting. I don't even know. There's just so many things wrong, and this country is going in such a wrong direction. And what's even more ironic is you hear Republicans, that's their big thing, especially ever since Biden came into office. The country's going in the wrong direction, it's the end of the world. Like, literally, I mean, I have, family members, I'm not going to give out names, obviously, but that they think this. They think that the world's going to end, the government's going to take over. It's just, and it's sad. And, especially with the Buffalo shooting, I made sure to mention, how he was radicalized and stuff. Like, this is real shit, you know what I mean? Everything that these, right-winged, followers and supporters, and, I hate to say it, but it's, actually I don't hate to say it because it's the fucking truth. I'm not going to be scared to say the truth. 90% of Trump supporters, believe in these bullshit narratives that don't even make sense. they twist everything. I have a family member that occasionally, you know, will stay the night at our house, and you know, unfortunately, I know there's a lot of people who have family members who have
Yeah.
the same Republican or pretty disgusting views, and fortunately, you can't really help your family with,
Yeah.
and whenever this person's in our house, we take politics is out the door, but the person will put Fox News on, and I'll like I'll like come in, and it's funny because the person thinks I'm going in there to actually watch for my enjoyment, but I'm literally just watching just to see like what's going on there. I'm curious. I'll watch it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you see the news articles what's going on, but let me just actually like go in there and see, and it's just so heartbreaking and disturbing that it's brainwash.
Yeah.
It's literally and I don't know. Supposedly people say CNN does the same thing. Maybe they do. I do believe that 24/7 news media channels aren't the best because they thrive on news, and they're at the end of the day they're trying to get people to watch, which most of the time people are only going to watch when it's shocking.
Yeah.
But that being said, this Fox News is on a whole different level. And the fact of the matter is that these people say all these fucking conspiracy theories that aren't even real. There's no evidence of these things happening, right? Everything from the white replacement theory to all this crazy psychotic shit, right?
Yeah.
The new world order, QAnon, all that stuff, right? No evidence, right? But meanwhile, we have evidence, right? Look, there's kids dying, people dying. You're having people literally radicalized, right? Falling into these crazy deep holes. Again, like I have family members that they believe this shit. They believe that this white replacement theory, they want us to hate white people, all this stuff, and it's just so narcissist. And even though I blame, some of my family members, they're responsible for the end of the day of what they're gonna believe in. That being said, it's just this like they are being brainwashed. They are victims of brainwashing for sure. I'm not gonna say victim. I'm not. I'm saying again and again.
They have every opportunity.
Yeah,
to
they have
unload it.
of course, but it's just like I'm honestly not too surprised when I sat there for an hour and the shit they spew. You know what I mean?
They're choosing to stay in a cycle of hate and like greed and power and selfishness and this whole we need to be free, you're taking away our rights, you guys are so woke, you guys are brainwashed, and the people who are saying that, they're really the people who are literally so far gone.
And they're hurting America.
And notice how we live in a country where kids are not allowed to, or kids in school are not allowed to say the word gay and identify as gay. But could buy a gun and kill anyone. But we can't say gay. God forbid.
Yeah.
It's like I can't even explain.
It's insanity.
How awful it is, and how evil and sickening and twisted it is, and yeah.
And we're gonna try to unravel each and every point, even though that's the thing that's overwhelming. It's just like it's one thing if you go into argument theory, right? Like if the argument only has one example or even two, but there's just so much overwhelming evidence. People's lives, things like that of that, and that this shit is a problem, and it's just like that's what scares me. It's like you would think, since we have the internet and we have the library at our fingertips, and you would think that we'd be more advanced as a civilization, and more so a country, I should say. And it's just it's like, who could you even trust anymore? You know, it's like whenever I show, a family member that again is like right wing like this, right? I'll show him the evidence, right? I'll show them the evidence, and they'll just be like, "That's bullshit." I'm like, I'm not, and then I'll even show. Sometimes I'll even show, like where Fox News even agrees, right? And like we'll say like, "Oh no, this is the fact," right? Like whatever, like Trump lost the election or whatever it is, right? Like they're reporting it as well, and still he'll go that's bullshit. That's bullshit. And I know there's a lot of families in America that have this dynamic going on.
And another thing is it's always blamed like on another like issue. Like oh
Wait, oh sorry.
no, I was just gonna say, like, okay, you show someone who thinks in this twisted way, this shooter doing this awful evil thing, and they go, oh, it's because of today's day and age and the video games and the violence and the videos that you see on TikTok. That needs to be stopped. You guys are a sick generation.
Well, before we get into that, that's what I said. Sorry, that's what I was about to. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to say before we moved on is if you can't believe in fact, what can you believe in? And that's what scares me. You know what I mean? Like these people, they don't even know what to believe in. You know what I mean? They call us the sheep. I mean, the reality is like they say the world's ending, all this stuff. Is the world ending? You know, even during COVID, I remember when there was restrictions, right? I was still traveling during COVID. I mean, I was, mind you, I was vaccinated and I was responsible and stuff. Wore masks where I had to, but like they literally treated it like the Holocaust. Like they believed that that's what was happening, and like I literally told this person like, hey, like dude, I literally just went on a cross country trip. Like I just went on a cruise. Like the world's not ending, bro. Like and it's just there's so while we're on the topic of Fox News, I do want to read this with Noel. Also, but first things first, the big argument is the Second Amendment, right? You guys, I actually, I'm actually history is my favorite subject, so I'm surprised I didn't know this, but everyone says the Second Amendment is what? Wait, before you read this, what do you think the Second Amendment is? Don't look at it.
The right to have
the bear arms, right?
Have weapons.
Yeah. That's what I always hear, right? Second Amendment, right to bear arms, right? After freedom of speech, right to bear arms, right? That's actually not even it. That's not even the full. So the Second Amendment, this is the actual Second Amendment. You can look it up yourself if you don't believe me. Is a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So notice how it said a well-regulated, right? And so that's the first argument that you can just literally just okay, you're
so
wrong.
Well-regulated.
It's not even a strong. And there's just so many things that you could go into, like the fact that they had muskets back then. They didn't have future insane murder factory weapons that could kill 100 people in a span of 60 seconds. Like they didn't have that, and then there's just again like it's almost overwhelming how many things you could just say. How about they like to say this is like a lot of these people even believe that they even think that background checks is too much and stuff like that. Or even like getting a license, they think that's too much, or like a yearly evaluation, and I'm just like, I'm like, literally, just to get a car in America, you have to pass the driver's test, right? You have to pass the knowledge test, pass the vision test, right? And then after you have your license, every year you have to get your car serviced, which is inspected and serviced. Make sure your car is safe to be on the road. And I believe every 6 years, you have to get your license updated. So this is just to drive a car, right? Literally, the first thing you read in your handbook, I noticed because I'm actually trying to get my license as well right now, is driving is a privilege, not a right, right? So why is it that that's not impeding on our rights, right? All this stuff we need to get a car, which I support, by the way. And we can't do the same for a gun,
Yeah, I also want to add, because I saw someone make a tweet, if we could find it, maybe we could put it up on the screen, about it's harder to get a wheelchair when you're disabled than it is to buy a gun. You can very easily buy a gun. As disabled people, to get a wheelchair, we have to get fitted, choose a chair, order it,
Get prescription.
Get prescriptions. Wait up to
12 months.
6 to 12 months for the wheelchair to even come in. And while that's going on, you can be denied from insurance for multiple things that you actually need for your chair. So then you have to fight it, which could prolong it, or just ultimately have to pay yourself. Finally, you get your chair up to 6 to 12 months later. Then you have to do adjustments to it, make sure you're comfortable. I mean, that's crazy. That process is longer than getting a gun. There's no steps.
It's harder to get a wheelchair than it is to get a gun in America. And, it's funny. There's two examples I wanted to bring up. Just two little personal stories. So one is I have a British friend. She lives in England. And, me and her, we were discussing just, what's been going on with the world, like I usually do with my friends. And, of course, obviously the horrible things have been happening in America were shootings and stuff. So we were talking about that. And she actually said something that I haven't heard a person from another country say before, which is very interesting. Because, usually other countries like to make fun of America for having shootings, which rightfully so. It's ridiculous that we have that, And she said, she was like, I'll be honest with you. She's like, England has very similar mental health issues as America, Because, America came from England. We parallel each other in a lot of things, culture, music, stuff like that, right? And she was like, England has very similar mental health problems to America, and I do believe that if we had the same gun laws as you guys did, we probably would have the same amount of shootings as you guys. So, and that, I was like, damn, I never heard, somebody probably said it before, but me personally, I never heard that before, but it's just interesting, yes, this is a mental health issue, of course. That's a piece of it. Nothing is black and white, obviously. That's my motto. Everything's a world of gray. But the majority issue here is just bare minimum. That's all we're asking. And, me personally, I think we should ban rifles altogether.
Me too.
And just, keep handguns for self-defense and stuff like that. But obviously, especially we're just so far on the opposite ends of this podium right now in politics and everything, worldviews in America. Why can't we just try to do something? Even if it's just, a federal background check where it's mandatory, or even yearly mental health evaluations. And here's actually another story. I have a really good friend that is, I don't want to say he's far right, but he is a Republican. He's not far right though. And he's actually he was in the military, fought in Fallujah in Iran or Iraq. Sorry if I mixed the two up. He fought after 9/11 happened because he was inspired, and obviously we all know that was manipulation by our government for a bunch of reasons. But anyways, he went there because he believed he was doing something good for the country, and he was actually part of the squad that was to recover the deceased or injured. So he really saw stuff. He has PTSD and stuff like that. But anyways, long story short, he has a bunch of guns. He has rifles, he has pistols, and he told me, he was like, I'll tell you right now, Mike, and we were actually on FaceTime, and we were talking about what was going on. And again, this is a guy that's Republican, right? I told you, military background, all that stuff. You're by the book Republican. And he was like, I don't understand why this. He pulls out, from his gun locker a pistol, right? He's like, I don't know why this, puts that down, is more regulated than this. And he pulls out a rifle. He's like, that just doesn't make sense to me. Why is a pistol more regulated than an assault rifle? That an assault rifle is obviously more powerful. It's easier to use. It could kill more people, do more harm. He's like, I just don't understand that. And he's like, well, I also understand. He's like, I have no problem doing a mental health evaluation or some sort of checkup every year at all. He's like, you can do that. The government can do that. I don't give a shit. So like that's what I'm saying. This isn't like just a minority that what people are feeling. A majority of people with at least half a brain and a fucking ounce of soul in their fucking heart know that we have to do something, and doing nothing isn't the answer because it just keeps getting worse. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything you wanted to say?
I mean, I'll never get it. I mean, I chalk it up to just people who are so ignorant, and power hungry, and just stuck in this twisted world. And like Mikey said, I believe that all like assault, like rifle, like weapons should be banned.
Altogether.
I mean,
yeah.
I really, at this point, I wish everything could be banned. Honestly, like honestly, I don't think. I mean, look at what's happening. Like,
well,
and I understand. If we could get the assault rifles banned, that would be incredible, and just keep the handguns. But there just needs to be something done.
Yes.
Regulations,
Yes.
Mental health checks, deep background checks, yearly checks, whatever. Like, that's just all we could ask for. And it's not hard.
Sorry.
No, continue.
Yeah, New Jersey has one of the most strictest gun laws in the country. I believe there's even some bans against certain rifles. One of my family members actually had to turn one of their rifles in when moving from Georgia back to Jersey. But I was actually, because I do believe in self-defense, especially for, I grew up with women, and obviously I'm pretty defenseless myself as a disabled person. I do believe in people being able to get a pistol, a small handgun that could be used to defend themselves, against, people who are more vulnerable. So I was actually looking into the process of getting a gun in Jersey, this is years ago, and I was actually pretty impressed. I mean, I could be wrong. It could be changed by now, but I don't think it has. The laws were like you have to go to your local police department. You have to get a form, right? And you have to have all your points of ID and stuff like that. So right away you're going to a police department, right? And then it looked like it was like half a year or like a year process of taking classes, taking gun control classes, having to pass a test, all this I mean this is just stuff that makes sense. But then meanwhile you go to Pennsylvania, which Pennsylvania is only an hour away, and you don't even need a license. You only need a license. There's a loophole. You need a license to carry, but you could go to a gun show and be like, oh, this rifle is only going to be used for my house. So they're like, okay, you're not going to use, yep, okay, we'll give it to you in a suitcase. All right, yeah, we trust you. You're gonna just keep it at your house. It's ridiculous, It's ridiculous, and it's just let's just do something. Even the smallest thing, we just cannot stall on this.
I mean, we just can't stay where we are. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand how we are. Honestly, I mean, I just don't. I don't know how we're still here, and how there are still people who are out here believing that this issue is not a gun control issue. This is that it's just baffling to me.
Well, let's get into that next. Actually, we could take turns reading this if you want. Or I can. It's up to you. This is only on my computer. Actually, no. It might be go all the way to the bottom. It might be on yours. Yeah. Hold on. No, it's not. Okay, we'll just I'll make it full screen. But all right, now I want to tackle the excuses that these people, gun apologists, have. So first off, mental health, right? So, the United States is a mental health problem, right? But then Governor Abbott, which is the governor of Texas, right-leaning Republican governor, he says, "Oh, it's a mental health problem, right? We have to work on our mental health, all this stuff." A month prior, again, you can fact check this. A month prior, he actually cutted funding for the Mental Health Commission in Texas. $211 million. He cut it. So he claims he knows what the issue is, right? It's a mental health one, but you're even contradicting yourself, bro.
I mean, my thing with that too is, yes, we had these people who, it's always the people too. Say it's a mental health issue. These people have mental illnesses. Mind you, there's multiple things I have to say about that. One, these are usually people who don't believe in mental health issues. And let's say when there's an average person who speaks about their mental health, they're like, "Oh, you're so dramatic. Oh, people these days.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
snowflakes.
They're so weak.
Wussies. We didn't have this in our generation."
Yeah, and that's obviously why they're cutting mental health things. But
we just had racism, no woman rights. We throw disabled people into homes. The good old days.
Yeah. So
kids smoking cigarettes. Working in factories. Sorry.
Jesus. So, mind you, it's those kind of people who say that, and then they say, "This is a mentally ill person." But mind you, there are people. Let's say that these shooters, they obviously are something mentally. They're evil, and they have something very wrong. And let's say they're having these thoughts, these violent thoughts. Guess what? If we had stricter laws, they wouldn't be able to carry it out. Honestly, they wouldn't be able to. Or they could try, but stop it at the source. You know what I mean? I just don't get it.
Yep. It's just it's funny. It's not funny, but I'm saying it's crazy how when you get so frustrated and the insanity gets to such a level that you just kind of have to laugh at it in a very fucked up way. But it really is disturbing, and I think we are becoming desensitized. A big channel I love is formerly known as All Gas No Brakes, but now Channel 5. They're pretty popular. You guys probably seen some of their videos. He does a lot of new stuff, but it's kind of more rough. More he goes there and actually he's in it. And I like the way he does it. He kind of lets the craziness talk for themselves. So he'll just be quiet and just let the crazies talk. Instead of and then these people get comfortable because they think, oh, maybe this guy's cool, right? Maybe he's part of us, and meanwhile he's not, right? And it's insanity, and we have these people in our government. Look at the mayor of Uvalde. Is it Uvalde or Uvalde? I think it's Uvalde, by the way.
I think it's Uvalde.
Forgive us, but even him. But by the way, I like how he was white, and the town is a majority of, I think it's 80 to 90% Latino, or Hispanic. So that's interesting. But the day of the shooting, he was like, "Let's not politicize this." This is and then they're just so manipulative.
Let's not talk about politics. Let's send love to these families, these hurting families. These families wouldn't have to be hurt if you did something.
No.
How about that?
It's just so manipulative, and so while we're on the topic of brainwashing and
is this real?
This is real. So
are you serious?
I mean, well, you haven't been here. I've had some time to watch Fox News when the undisclosed family member has been over.
This is leftovers.
No, this is a podcast. Shout out to Leftovers, but this is Fox News. This is Fox News. This is
can't.
in the date. So what we're gonna be going over is I put the image up
Yeah.
in the video, but for our auditory listeners, what we're gonna be reading off is 50, and there was probably even more, but 50 different points and excuses, or their reasons, as they say, or their solutions, I should say, that people on Fox News reported or said that would solve the gun issue, the mass shooting.
Not change the regulations and the laws. These are what we should do.
Yeah. So again, this is all real. I'll try to find the video itself where it matched this up all together. Again, shout out to Leftovers. I really like that podcast for the most part. Again, you're never gonna fully agree with anybody, but I think they get it right most of the time. I love Ethan, and I love Hassan. I think they're pretty good dudes overall. Again, nobody's perfect, right? But do you want to take turns reading this?
Okay.
Again, for all our listeners, this is up to 50 solutions that
excuses.
No, they think that.
Well, no, I know.
They think that this would solve.
Believe it, but
they think this is what's going to solve the shooting issue in America. All right.
Okay.
Want me to start?
Okay.
All right. Number 1, armed security guard.
Armed school safety officer.
Number 3. Would you say each number?
Oh, sorry.
Armed deputy.
Number 4, armed teachers.
Number 5, armed administrators.
Number 6, armed school staffers.
Number 7, policemen.
Number 8, train the students themselves.
Yep. No, that's so disgusting. Number 9, retired military.
Number 10, retired law enforcement.
Number 11, tax breaks. That's fucking random as shit. I don't even know what that means. Okay.
Number 12, martial law.
Number 13, secure the perimeter.
Number 14, provide a ring of steel.
Number 15, better fences.
Number 16, higher fences.
Number 17, locked doors.
Number 18, bulletproof glass.
Number 19, Judeo-Christian values.
Number 20, make attacking a school a death sentence.
Number 21, school snitches. So sick. That's so sick.
Number 22, stop letting schools be gun-free zones.
Number 23, put your phone down.
Number 24, divert coronavirus relief funds.
Which, by the way, was already used. Biden gave permission to, I think, Abbott and other governors to put some of the funds from coronavirus into the police force. So that didn't work. But anyways, number 25, send your child to private school. This is the sick. Like, we're gonna be breaking this all down after we say it. But this is the sickness that these people, and these are actual representatives, people in the government, news people that are in, this professional, quote unquote, professional sphere, right? That are fucking, grandparents and other people, people in America watch, right? This is who they're watching. These sick fucks that don't see any insanity, that don't see any disturbing, they're able to sleep at night. Literally,
they don't see violence, they don't see racism.
No.
The privilege they hold, I can't even.
We'll get into we still have to get into the racism and all that stuff. There's so many stuff we have to tackle, but just, you want to talk about the devil? This is the devil. These people who are willing to forego our child lives and again, not even just anybody's life.
And they are also the people who care more about regulating women's bodies.
Abortion, right?
And choosing and thinking what's best for women to do with their own bodies. But meanwhile, and they're so pro-life, but they're children are being killed.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of children, by the way, you know, I don't know if I have that here. I didn't save it, but I'll make sure to put it in the video. I read how it officially this year, gun-related deaths became the #1 leading cause of children in America. More than motor vehicle crashes, more than disease, more than stuff like that, abuse, guns. The leading. So they care about our children, right? They care about, but then meanwhile, anyways. All right, so yeah, I said 25. Send your child to private school. Which, by the way, they talk about, that's the other thing. God, I mean, we're gonna come back to this, but you talk about losing our rights as Americans. You're willing to lose public school, right? Which should be a right, right? We should have the right to safety, right? The right to send our children to public school, right? And you're you're okay with foregoing that, and even though it's not gonna solve anything, but. Oh, yeah, private school. Sending your child to private school. Like, dude, you're literally, like, this is insanity. You talk about communists, you talk about, you know, like it's just, it's insane. But you're next.
26. Take your children to church.
27. Fight this anti-police narrative. Nothing to do with it.
I can't. 28. Series of interlocking doors.
29. Tripwire.
30. Track the shooter like a rat.
31. God.
32. Address moral rot.
33. Decrease social media exposure. Again, talk about communists and, you know, the government trying, you know, whatever, the world ending and trying to take away our rights. They think that the answer is decreasing social media exposure. But, anyways.
34. Focus on mental health.
35. Pray.
36. Faith and prayer.
37. Make schools more like airports.
38. Don't be triggered.
39. Assault rifles. It's like PEMDAS. It cancels out.
40. Enhanced body armor.
41. Notification system.
42. Single point of entry.
43. Don't talk about the shooting.
44. Raise your children properly.
45. Ballistic blankets.
46. Give police more resources.
Which already happened. 47. EO for mental health facilities?
I don't know what that means.
I don't even know. EO for mental health facilities? I don't think. Equal opportunity for mental health facilities, maybe? Whatever.
48. Return to God.
49. Arm yourself even.
50. It's up to you to... Oh, it gets cut off. It's... I don't even... Some bullshit is going to be
it's going to be up to you. I'll make sure to put the actual video itself of the person that meshed it all together, if I could find it. But, I mean, guys, it's literally insanity. You know, and this is why it was important for us to talk about this, just to really... I mean... You know, and this is coming... Like, this isn't like a left and right thing. Like, not that it even fucking matters, but, like, I mean, I lean left, but, like, I'm not, like, you know, I'm not, like, a... It's just, I don't know, it shouldn't even fucking matter. You know what I mean? But like, these right-wing people, they try to label people as, like, anyone having opposite views as them is a left-wing socialist, right? And it's just like, no, just, like, fucking pretty common sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I know for a fact, like I said, my one friend, there are even Republicans that think we should do something. You know what I mean? Fucking something, you know? And it's just, America is fucking failing. We're fucking failing. And that's the other thing, you know, we didn't really talk about it because we're just obviously overstimulated. It was just all this shit there is to talk about. But the fact that there were officers at the Uvalde shooting. There's so much information, all facts, by the way, that were even reported by the authorities. You could look up, witnesses and stuff like that. But the fact that the cops, they were there when the shooting happened. Not only was there, I think, one or two armed school officers that stay at the school, but when we talked about the reporting, there was multiple, like, the grandmother called and said that she just got shot in the face, right? He crashed the car, like, a couple of yards away from the school and started shooting outside of the school. Yeah. There was multiple calls, right. And so clearly it's not the answer to have armed people. And, that's why I think I am going to title this video, America has a problem, or Wake Up America, something like that, because we do. What, they're right. It is not only a gun issue, or they say gun issue at all, but it is multiple things. It's fucking gun, right, first and foremost gun issues, but we have a racism issue, we have a brainwashing issue, we have a
There's a police.
Okay, that's what I was going to say.
Issue.
We have a police issue. Now listen, I'm not going to sit here. People say all cops are bad, all that stuff. Obviously, not all cops are bad. I know of some cops that genuinely, like, they even agree with, like, the fucked up shit that's going on. They genuinely wanted to become a police officer to, like, save lives. Especially, I know, like, even some minority, police officers, my friends who are in a minority group, that they became cops just for that reason, to to kind of be the good example, right? So, but we had to sniff these people out. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't want to fat shame either, but like there was like one of the days after the shooting, they had like the Uvalde cops, or surrounding the perimeter. And like half of them were like clearly like overweight. You know what I mean? And it's just like, if you're not physically fit, you know what I mean, and mentally fit to do your job, which is to protect citizens, you work for us. You work for the citizens of America. If you can't protect our children, and this is coming from a disabled person, I can't become a cop. You know what I mean? I'll acknowledge I can't. If I had to use my gun to protect somebody, I can't.
I think it goes beyond that.
No.
Because let's say there's many cops who are physically fit for the job, and they just don't do their job.
No, of course.
In fact, they do it backwards.
No, of course. No, that's why I said mentally fit too. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, it should be harder to become a cop. And I'm not saying it's easy. I know they have to go to academy and all that stuff, but I don't know, man. There's some shady shit going on, like, and it even scares me to talk about, because like I know, like, this certain kid I went to school with that literally was known for being the dumbass in school. Like, literally, he was a pretty, I don't want to say good kid, because he did some fucked up shit, but he wasn't a bad kid, but he was like literally known for being a dumbass. He was like the one kid that would lie for no reason, tell like crazy stories that just weren't true, and literally was known as like the airhead. You know what I mean? Like that, but like he wanted to be that. Like that was like his personality. He fucking became a cop, like 2 years after high school. And that like literally, I was like, wow, we're. I mean, there was obviously so many other signs with like all the tragic things, especially that happens to black people, with like everything from George Floyd, going back to forever. We already knew this, but just like, but something so personal like this. This is somebody I grew up with, like, from 3 years old. Like, we went to elementary school together. We went to high school together. I was like, yo, that's nuts. And, meanwhile, like, his family is, like, all interconnected with the town. You know what I mean? It's all bullshit. And we have to sniff this shit fucking out. There's some shady shit going on. There's some, it's just, it's literally overwhelming. And, you know what I mean? And and these people that lean right like to say that, oh yeah, like yeah, they're, America has the issue, but they're the issue. You know what I mean? Their ideologies, like the way they're going, they're the fucking issue. You know what I mean? They're the ones that are going to cause the civil war. If they, even though I don't think that's going to happen, but but meanwhile they talk all this shit, right? They're the biggest pussies at the end of the day. I mean, look what happened again in Uvalde. The cops didn't do anything. They literally listened.
In fact, they held down parents and just sat there
and reportedly tased them too.
Yeah, and handcuffed parents were on the ground, I mean, I really have no words for it.
And there's so much you could pull out from, especially the in regards to the police fucking up in Uvalde, like the Buffalo shooting, even though it's still tragic. The cops were there within 6 minutes, and it looked like for the most part they did their job. But right now, since we're discussing police stuff, obviously Uvalde, the big, one of the big topics is how the police force failed us and failed those children. And there's just so many, like literally there's different reports happening every day of like what happened, how they stood around, how one of the cops actually went into school to make sure to grab their own kid. But then meanwhile, they didn't let anybody in. And what's even more sick to me is like, okay, you're clearly too pussy to go into yourself. Let the parents go in. I was so heartbroken. This one father that was like, he was the one. I'm sure most of you saw the viral video. You guys, if you haven't seen this, do a quick, Google search of the video of the cops refusing to let parents in. This one father is like shaking and begging, saying, and like he's not being physical. He's just like pushing his body up against the cops, saying, "Please let me through, let me through." And then he's talking to all the other parents, saying, "You know what? If they're not doing anything, let's just break through. We have to do something." And they weren't letting him through. They were tackling these parents, handcuffing them. And then that father that was saying that, he was the one that said, "Let's do something," because clearly they're not doing anything. He lost his daughter. And there's the most heartbreaking fucking video I've ever watched of him saying that. Like, she was right there. I mean, he could have. He's never gonna have that closure of, Oh, I could have done something. What if they could? What if they did do the right thing? But like, maybe her life could have been saved. Like that one girl that called the cops multiple times, or the one girl that the police said, "Hey, shout where you are," and the guy shot her. You know what I mean? It's so fucking heartbreaking. It's so disgusting, and it's just sad that these people. You would think that these people who are gun leaning that way would wake up and be like, damn, like, you know what? Maybe I should suck my ego up a little bit and just be a little bit more sympathetic, and it's not happening. I mean, I still can't get over. I mean, there's so many things, but I just cannot get over it. They still held the NRA convention, which, by the way, do you know this? Do you know that at the NRA convention, guns are prohibited?
Or what?
You're like so you know what the NRA is, right? That's the National Rifle Association.
Okay, yeah.
They're the people that are
right
backing guns and stuff, right? So it's a convention, like I guess like a Comic-Con almost, right, for guns. Fucking ridiculous. Guns are prohibited. They can't bring their guns. So even the NRA, which is all about guns, right? They're not even allowing guns. Like, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. And this is a little random. And then, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm rambling here. I want to let you talk too. But there's just so much to unpack. The one guy I mentioned earlier, Ethan from H3 Podcast, he has I think he has 2 kids now, and he has his own podcast. I think a lot of my inspiration from him. I'm a big fan of his podcast. Again, he's definitely done he says some messed up things that he's apologized for. So I don't support everything, obviously, but for the most part, I think he's a good dude. And he was just saying how fed up he was, and you could see he was actually upset, because he has a heart. He has 2 kids, and he made it was a dark joke, but after he read that the NRA convention happened and that there was no, he was like, man, he was out of frustration. He was like, somebody should freaking, and then he apologized because you should never fight violence with violence. But I just understand how fed up we're getting. But he was like, someone should out that place. But then he was like, okay, I'm taking that back. He was like, obviously no, but it's just like, but they don't care. They literally don't care, and I'm not condoning that either. By the way, no one should. You never fight violence with violence. No, no matter how bad shit gets. But that's how frustrating we're getting. Because nothing is being done, and it's almost like nothing will be able to sap out these people. And then they did a poll yesterday on one of the major news outlets. I think it was NBC or ABC, one of those channels. It was like 70% of Republicans, or it was like close to 80%, agree that there should be more gun reform, right? But at the same time, 44% of them believe that mass shootings are things that we should just accept. So, we should just accept it, guys. That's the fucking answer. Sorry, I'm gonna let you talk now for a bit.
No, yeah, I really don't know what else to say besides that I'm sick every single day, and everything you've been saying, it's I just feel sick by it, and no minority group should have to feel this fear every single day. No child should have to worry about going to school. And these people just don't care about that. And it just makes me feel like, what hope do we have? I'm, like Mikey said, I'm a very optimistic person, but where we're at in the country, I'm just at a loss for words, because this is not just something that rarely happens. It continues to happen.
It's happened 50 times since Buffalo.
I know. So I'm just when will it be the moment that people are oh, I know what we could do to stop people from being murdered. It's just sick. It's sick. And
that's the reason why I don't want to say I do not support what Ethan said, who I just talked about what he said, we should just be a word, the convention. I don't support that, but I'm just talking about how people, he's usually PC, especially when it comes to violence and stuff like that. But even I don't blame him for having that slip up, because it's just we're exhausted. It's depressing. Who wants to live in this world? You know what I mean? Or in this country, I should say. In a country that accepts this. Or I truly believe at this point, especially if things don't start changing, I have an American flag in my room, but my version of America is what I was brought up to learn in my diverse town in New Jersey, which was, Americans are immigrants. Americans are people, are diversity. That's what America is. That's what makes America beautiful. That's my version of America. But clearly, at least 50% of Americans don't agree with that. You know what I mean? Especially South. Not everyone in the South. Obviously, I know some good people in the South, but a majority.
It's sickening to know that these people are sometimes the people in our own lives who are really against, even us,
Everything.
like disabled people.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just a small piece of it. Like the it's much bigger. But just to go into the small things is like these people are against disability and are so far behind in like even ideology around us and like how we're supposed to act and what rights we deserve and what relationships we should have, and it's just it sickens me. And then the final straw is gun control for me. It has been for years, and I'm just getting like so fed up by it. I really am truly.
Well, I mean, everything
fed up.
everything is fed up. But that thing, it's like a package deal because it's not like there's just so many disgusting and vile things between the racism and the
Police
the
brutality.
Nazism, this anti-Semitism, the anti-LGBT, everything. It's just they're literally the opposite in every fucking way, and it's like anyone with common sense knows that all these issues, quote unquote issues, right? It's a gay person isn't bothering your kid.
There's no
You know what I mean?
issue with people being themselves. There's no problem with someone being disabled. There's no problem with someone being a part of a minority group and looking different than you. There's no problem with anyone identifying the way that they want to identify. That is the beauty of our world. And that's what sickened me. This is the good of our world. And we're focusing on letting these people be killed and hurt and shamed and harassed. And meanwhile, there's this entire group that is just, it's just how we live, and it gets swept under the rug too. Because I mean, how infuriating is it, thinking back to 2020 when when what happened with George Floyd, and it was a big awakening. And even for myself, I was so naive I knew racism existed, but to the extent of that police were murdering black people, I finally learned. And I mean, yes, I think as a country people learned from it, but like it still gets swept under the rug. And like, how many people post things on Instagram so that they look like they care or they know, but they're not really caring and they're not really learning, and they're it just continues to be swept because they want to look like it just kills me how everything is so like, okay, this is awful, next, this is awful, next, like
it's very, I mean, it's egotistical because it's like, it's they're so insecure, just because America is trying to at least become more accepting towards everyone that's different, right? And it's like these are some of the smallest minority groups, like transgender people, all this stuff, right? Are some of the smallest groups that, I mean, and even if they were a larger group, they're just people, And we're supposed to be a free country, and that's the beautiful thing, right? They say we should be able to do whatever we want, right? It's our country, right? And it's just like, clearly you don't believe that. You're a fucking walking, living contradiction, And it's just too fucking much, man. And obviously we can go on forever. So I do want to not wrap it up, but I have this up. One of the things I saw that was pretty powerful for me. It was a powerful cover. I thought was I'll put it up in the video, but for the auditory listeners, it was a New York Times newspaper front page. It was all black, but it had the headlines for all these. I'm gonna say major shootings, major being, pretty prolific ones that had a lot of people killed. But there's a pattern here. You'll see. Uvalde, Texas, 21 people killed. Right, which I think no, it didn't go up. I don't think, but 21 people killed. The gunman. Authorities said that the gunman was able to obtain the weapons legally. Buffalo, 2022, 10 killed. Authorities said that the gunman was able to obtain the weapon legally. Boulder, Colorado, 2021, 10 killed. Authorities said that the gunman was able to obtain the weapon legally. Atlanta, 2021, 8 killed. Authorities said that the gunman was able to obtain the weapon legally. Dayton, Ohio, 2019, 10 killed. Authorities said that the gunman was able to obtain the weapon legally. El Paso, 2019, 23 killed. Authorities said the gunman was able to obtain the weapon legally. And then, again, I'm not going to keep it, but all these people were able to obtain their weapons legally for the Virginia Beach shooting, 2019, 12 killed. Thousand Oaks, California, 2018, 12 killed. Pittsburgh, 2018, 11 killed. Parkland, Florida, 2018, 17 killed. Sutherland Springs, Texas, 2017, 26 killed. Las Vegas, and I thought this was, it's fun. It's not funny, but it's ironic because everyone says, like, especially people with common sense, they say they point to a certain shooting that says, "Yeah, I really thought that there would be something changed. Like this would be the turning point." Like, Sandy Hook, for example. But that moment for me was the probably the Orlando shooting first, which was 2016, 49 killed. But also the Las Vegas shooting in 2017, where 60 people, 60 fucking people were killed. And I believe like 300 were shot at a fucking concert. The guy literally went in a hotel on like the 40th floor overlooking the concert and just sprayed. It's just sick. Rosenberg, Oregon, 2015, 9 killed. Oak Creek, Wisconsin, 2012, 7 killed. I mean, and all these weapons were legally, and by the way, they're saying legally for some of you dumb fucks that might be watching this or listening to this. Probably most likely you can concur that they were obtained legally in some gun relaxed states. I mean, notice how other than Buffalo, you don't really see New York or New Jersey or some of the states that have stricter gun laws. And even then, that isn't also, sorry, I didn't want to cut you off, but also that doesn't even solve the issue per se, because, let's just say you have strict law, like, Jersey, we have strict laws, but you go to the state over, literally an hour away, and you're good. Like, it's just fucking nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts, and we gathered some more. We gathered some more crazy stats. Just to add more. I don't know. Not like you need more evidence, but the thumbnail is going to be just. This year alone, there was. Try to see. There was 280, and this probably changed. This is probably a week ago, but 288 mass shootings in America. That were the leader in mass shootings so far this year. Second place is Mexico with 8. Then behind that is South Africa with 6.
I mean, if that doesn't speak for itself, I don't know what does. I really don't at this point.
It's just.
I don't.
And there's some more stuff like. This is a crazy stat. I'll put this all in the description. In the video itself. The U.S. was home to 4% of the world's population, but accounted for 44% of global suicides by firearm in 2019. Another one. What's this one? The United States has 270 million guns. It had 90 mass shootings. From 1966.
Shooters.
Oh, mass shooters. Sorry, 1966 to 2012. No other country has had more. No country has more than 46 million guns or 18 mass shooters, and we had 90. Yep. And by the way, this could be according, mass shooters for them this might just be just the, prolific, quote unquote, some of the bigger ones. Because we obviously had, just alone we had 200 and, over 200 mass shooting events, which is 3 or more. Again, general consensus is 3 or more people being shot in one incident. What is this one? This one is this one kind of the same?
I can't really tell. Number of mass shooting casualties by year.
Yeah, so again, America's up in front, and even France. This one year was I think that was the year that one shooting happened, that concert shooting. That was which was very rare for them. I think they made laws since then. But again, another trend just for America. No other country has what we have. I'll put that also in the description. It's just for auditory listeners. It's just listing the amount of shootings we have a year compared to. It's like a graph compared to other countries. And it's not even close in the ballpark, but. Yeah, I feel like we tackled a good amount. I do want to go back to just the Buffalo shooting, and even the Uvalde shooting. They both could have been. That's the frustrating thing. They both could have been prevented.
Mm-hmm.
The Buffalo shooter. First of all, supposedly the government is looking at our internet history, right? That was Snowden confirmed that, right? I don't think they should be able to look into what our private information, but there should be keywords. I felt weird because I had to do research for this video, searching all these shootings that happened in my internet history, and I was thinking, I was like, I kind of hope, it's scary, but I hope that it triggers officer or something to make sure I'm not planning something. There should be keywords. The fact that this guy, or even 4chan and all these websites that clearly have these I don't want censorship, obviously, people should be able to talk about what they want. But when it's clearly insane shit like this, extremist, terrorist shit, where they believe in, the election being a fraud, Nazism, the Holocaust being never happened, all this insane shit, it's, shut it down, man. Shut it fucking down. And the fact that the kid from the Buffalo shooting a year prior was in a mental health institution, even if he did say, and oh yeah, I was just joking, he should not be able to get a gun. That should be in his record forever.
Yeah.
No, maybe it shouldn't affect the job, but in regards to a gun, they should be able to see, oh, dude, you were just in a mental health hospital a year ago.
And it just really baffles me how there are people out there, and a lot of them, who saw this shooting that happened, and they go, oh, yeah, this guy was motivated to kill black people. Okay. And there's people who could sit there and think that that's normal, and that's justified, and that's not an issue. The fact that we have people out there doing that and believing that.
Oh, actual racist people, I don't care?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, of course there's people. It's disgusting.
I can't.
Fathom.
I really cannot. And all these things could be solved at the source.
Yeah, this is a very depressing episode.
Very.
But it's, again, we should be talking about this stuff, guys. We should not.
It's our reality.
We should not be silent. It's our duties as true Americans to speak up and stand together. The more of us together, we are strong. And it's just, You know,
Yeah.
we have to do everything we can, even if it's small things, like, just sharing stories and stuff like that, whatever.
We have to have conversations and we have to put pressure on it, although I don't know what's going to change these people or how, but talking about it is what we can do.
Because all of these other countries have so much more resources and, which is a good thing in a good way, like, even as disabled people, that's a conversation for another day, but like, me knowing there's so many other countries that they get more funding for, like, SSI and funding for, like, accessibility projects for their houses and being able to hire aides and stuff. Like, I mean, we have to fight literally every, like, 3 months they come to call us to make sure we're still handicapped, even though our disease obviously is chronic. It's never changing. They have to keep checking it, and we have to fight to prove that we're disabled enough just to get our 40 hours a week, right? That the government doesn't give anything any more than 40 hours, and it's at 13.50, right? That's it's a 13. Like, this is ridiculous. I'm still looking for, like, and I'm not gonna get into that. Obviously, that this is more gun related, but we just have to wake up. We really have to fucking wake up. We have to, I plead to anyone that's leaning right. It's never. I believe this. I truly do. And I do believe there is some toxic people, and I don't even want to say toxic, but maybe immature. That, what I mean. Like, sometimes people get excited to put others down, and not that I don't think that these people should be put down. I mean, listen to how I talked about them, but I do also want to say it's never too late to change. You know what I mean? Like people do deserve second chances, and like, I mean, for the most part, and even in regards to, like, disgusting things like racism and stuff like that, like, like, again, I can't speak. I'm a white person, right? But, like, I would think. I mean, I've seen some of my friends and, just people I follow say, like, who are black or in a minority say this, like, listen, like, like, not, again, not everyone, but it really is, like, you don't have to be so bitter to the fact that, like, these people dig so deep that they just can't handle the fact that they were wrong. I mean, because I do believe that some people are brainwashed from a young age, and not that's an excuse, but I'm just saying, I mean, if you're brought up in a mostly white community that's mostly racist, you never get out. How do you think that kid's gonna be raised? I mean, look at Nazis, right?
Yeah.
And and it's just, again, anyone might be watching this, it just ends up for some reason blowing up eventually or whatever. Even if it's one person, it's never too late to change. It really isn't.
Yeah.
And it's honestly, it doesn't forgive for everything you've done in the past, but there's something beautiful to be said that, let's just say you are 40, 50, 60, or 70, 80, whatever. Let's just say you are older and you have all these years of horrible stuff. And you see it all the time in real life and in movies. People say, I mean, like, it's too late for me to change. I've done too much. And deep down they want to. I mean, deep down, like, I believe most people aren't stupid. I think for the most part, even the fucked up people, they have a moral compass and conscience in their heart. Like, just, it's never too late, man. It's never fucking too late.
Yeah.
So, just, I think we covered about everything as much as we could. Again, we definitely are leaving some stuff out. Please forgive us if we did. This won't be the last time. Obviously, this is good. Unfortunately, I don't want this to be the case. Knock on wood, God forbid. But if this does happen again, we obviously we're not gonna ignore it. Just, we probably won't go into as deep as we did, like, this episode where we're devoting a whole episode towards it. At least for a while.
We can't ignore this.
Mm.
And also show that we are not okay with what is happening. And, like, I don't, there's some people who don't, say anything about this and, think that, like we've been talking about, this is not a gun control issue, but it is. And
it's a gun control issue. And obviously because we talk about the Buffalo shooting, it's a racism issue, and it is a people issue, but it's not in the way that they're saying. It's not fucking video games. Look at all these other countries.
No.
Japan's known for video games and violent anime and stuff like that. They don't have this shit.
It could be significantly reduced with the proper laws. And I'm sick of seeing people targeted. And I can't imagine, and I just want to point out, we're talking about this, how sick it makes us, but to the people whether you were affected by this personally, or you are a part of a minority group, and
if you're associated,
and this didn't even happen, you weren't a part of these shootings, you're still in that minority group. I cannot imagine, and I will never be able to imagine, the weight you feel every single day. And that's why I know Mikey wanted to talk about this, because this weight should not have to be felt. And I just want you to know we say how sick it makes us, but I can't imagine how sick it makes, people a part of these groups who have to deal with it and live with it, and I just wanted to point that out.
No, I'm actually glad you said that, because again, I know I'm gonna be editing this and be like, damn, I forgot to bring that up, because there's just so much to unpack here, and obviously we are passionate about this. It does make us emotional, so it's gonna be hard to cover everything. But I just, I was sitting here actually last night, doing a lot of deep diving into the whole Buffalo shooting, for this episode. And just, as I'm writing this stuff and reading this stuff, I'm obviously thinking about it more. Not that I haven't before, but I think you understand what I'm saying. But I just can't imagine how it could, being a bi person and reading something like the Buffalo shooting, and there's so many other incidents, right, where people go out of their way to kill a certain group. I mean, you saw in the report, he had the gun aimed at a white person. It was like, oh, sorry. Yeah, obviously, so many facts, right? That's who he was going for. That's scary. Imagine being, because this is all in the news, right? Imagine being a father and having to explain that to your children. Like, yep, this is unfortunately happening, and I'll never forget, like, and people say, oh, this is over dramatic. It's not. It's fucking not. Wake the fuck up, man. I'm getting pissed. Wake the fuck up, because I'll never forget when Biden won, and there was that one, I don't know my name. I'll see if I can maybe put them up in YouTube, but post edit. But that one black news anchor from CNN, he cried when Joe Biden won, and it wasn't and I think he ended up saying that, like, he wasn't even excited about Biden per se, but it was just like the past 4 years have been so tiresome, and because, like, let's be honest, man. Let's call it like it fucking is. Do I believe that all Trump supporters are racist? I mean, maybe there's a 5-10%, maybe, I don't fucking know. But let's just be honest, a majority of them, it's an unspoken fucking thing that they follow, that they agree with. And the whole Republican Party is doubling down on this ideology. You know what I mean? And it's sickening. It's fucking sickening. We're going backwards. And the sad thing is we're in the 2020s. I mean, just fucking, in the 60s, which is our grandparents' lifetime, you know what I mean? Even some of our parents, actually, because, so we have young parents. Our parents are like 45, but say people born in the 60s, like, racism was happening. Like, that was MLK. Like, this is like in our lifetime, that, like, people had less rights, oh my God, what's it called? Jim Crow, right? Jim Crow, all that stuff. Like the fact that like they're brainwashing to the point that people are like, oh, America's turning into the wrong thing. You know what I mean? Just because just now, recently, we're starting to become more accepting and you know what I mean, like not really seeing. We're trying to go in the direction of not seeing race. You know what I mean? These
Yeah,
people
but that's
literally.
also toxic. I don't see color. That's also a toxic ideology, I believe.
Wait, what do you mean?
Because I personally, what I've heard from people of color, when people say that, it's like, no, acknowledge that I am.
Oh well, no, I didn't mean it like that.
No, I know. I'm just saying. Like, well, I think that's another thing to add on. Like, acknowledge like this is who I am.
Yeah, and it's okay. Exactly. Identity. It's okay.
It's, you know,
it's okay.
You don't have to walk around it. Like, you don't have to tiptoe around it.
I obviously I didn't mean that in that way at all.
No, yeah.
I'm just trying to say that we're just recently like starting to have like, you know, these people literally. I mean, you hear it. I mean, I have, you know, I mean, I know other friends that have, you know, other white people or white families that have their, you know, their crazy family member that are, you know, far right like this. But you hear like they literally get triggered by rap music. They get triggered by, you know what I mean, like they seeing a black actor in a main role. Like it's insane. You know what I mean? And this has started happening within the past 40 years. You know, if even, you know what I mean? Like it's just fucked up. It's like, how are we just going? It's been so recent. How are we already going back? We're already going backwards. You know what I mean? It's just fucking, it's nuts.
Yeah.
And that's the point I was trying to make. You know, I wasn't obviously, you know, yeah, see color.
It's
you know?
sick.
It's just, I don't know. So, is there? I mean, there's so much. There's so much.
I mean,
is there anything else you want to say?
You know, like you said, like it's something that I feel like I could forever speak about. We could go on and on and on and on and on and on and feel sicker and sicker and sicker because that's how honestly I am feeling. So I hope I've been able to portray my thoughts and feelings in like the best way I can, but it's like, you know, it's hard to when it's, you know, this is what is happening. But I feel like I think it's important that we just spoke and shared and, you know, I think this is what, you know, needs to be done. There's a lot that needs to be done, but, you know, I hope we were able to do something.
Yeah, and again, if you missed anything, or even, you know, separate from that, like, we love having a conversation here.
Right.
I like enjoy reading the comment section or having people message me about the video or what we talked about. So,
and I mean, if you're going to be a person that was going to comment and disagree with, you're on the side of what we've been talking about is terrible. To be honest, we don't want to hear your feedback. If you're going to defend acts of hate, and you know I do want to say that because
we welcome what's the word I'm looking for, like rightful critique, but not shit like that. That's fucking just insanity. Yeah. So, you know. Anyways, please comment down below. You know, again,
even if you just want to share your thoughts or suggestions or something that hit close to you that we don't know about, please share. And even if we don't speak about it in the podcast, I would personally love to learn and hear. And I mean, I don't love to, but you know what I mean. I would,
And I think also, you know, we're trying to say goodbye here, but I reading, because I wrote it down, and reading out loud versus writing it down or copy and pasting, you know, certain articles is different than reading out loud. It was really hard for me to read
Me too.
the events, like our opening of our video of the, when we started talking about this stuff.
That was really hard.
And, again, you guys can kind of rewind and go back to that. There's just so much to break down there. And, again, you could, if you guys don't trust me, you could background check, fact check all my stuff. It's all from reputable sources. Again, Associated Press, Buffalo News, CBS, NPR. So, anyways, there's some pretty sick shit. There's just so much sick shit to talk about, So, it's a mental health issue, but in the sense of these people believing these sick ideologies. And so, in my opinion, in the end of the day, it's a yes, it's a gun issue, but it's a fucking. I'm not afraid to say it right now, and the way the party is going, it's a fucking Republican issue, man. I'm gonna say it. I'm not gonna fucking hold back. I mean, I do think that there are quote unquote true Republicans that say, oh, what Trump and all these new people stand for isn't what true Republicans stand for. And I think there probably is still a demographic like that, but for the most part, it's right now the background of what the Republican Party is. It's a fucking Republican issue.
I agree.
It's an American issue because half of America, right, feels this way, and we gotta get our fucking shit together, man. I'm tired of it.
We have to literally wake up.
And that's what I was gonna say. Like, honestly, I never really felt this way before, but it really is getting, because as you get older, like, I'm 23, as you start becoming an adult, you start like putting yourself in other people's shoes more. Especially like, I want to have kids one day, These stories like this really affect you more and more.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be in a country, especially like when I have friends in other countries, I see how good they have it. No country's perfect, but fucking way better than ours right now.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't even want to fucking be here. And if I have money, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Me too. No,
and look at Tom Hanks.
I literally
he went to fucking Australia.
say the same thing with some of my friends. And like also, just to wrap up my final thought, we... Are you okay?
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, no, you're okay. Oh my god, now I'm forgetting the thought I was going to say.
You said you talked to your friends.
Oh my god,
I said about moving. How I wanted to move
moving.
to a different country. You were talking to your friends. I'm sorry.
Sorry. I remember. So sorry. Oh my god. See, I'm clearly not doing well. Just to wrap up my thoughts. We cannot become desensitized to this. We cannot let those evil ideologies and people, we can't let this be normal.
We can't accept it.
We can't let this be normal. And I know it's so shitty because it's up to these gross people of power, but like we cannot let ourselves, like personally, just move on from it, so yeah, I think that's just what I wanted to wrap on.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Can't accept this shit, man. We can't start calling your people out. Yes. And I get it. Family is family at the end of the day. Like, it's hard. So don't feel bad if you're in a certain scenario where you can't really talk. It's like where you live, like you'll be kicked out, whatever. Like, I understand you're not a bad person. You can only do so much, but just, help in any way you can. And like we said, it's not black and white. There's multiple ways you could help. Yeah. And also, there's sometimes, not always, I've definitely tried to, educate people in a less aggressive way, like, and just like wanting to teach them, and they still get angry and triggered. So, which meanwhile they call us the snowflakes. But, so I understand, like, you guys probably try this, but, definitely try to go the high road, and then if that doesn't work, I don't fucking know. I don't know. This is a evolving issue that, we're not claiming to really know the answer to, but something's got to happen.
Something must change.
So, to sum up, again, rest in peace to all the people that lost their lives in the stories that we talked about today. Not only the
And another thing is like, anytime I know Mikey will cut out when we by accidentally ever say the shooter's name. But I hate when that happens when they give light and like attention to the shooter, their name, their picture. No, I only want to acknowledge the individuals who were taken and hurt and affected, and the families, and like we're thinking of them. Oh, and we always should. That's another thing. We can't forget about these people. We can't. Any of these people.
And again, I definitely like, because I don't want to say I enjoy, but I'm passionate about talking about these fucked up people in office. Fucking Abbott, all these people. So, not to say, even though we devoted an episode to this, we will definitely acknowledge, if something happens, God forbid, next episode, we'll probably talk about it a little bit. We just won't go into like the details like we did today, where we're literally breaking down everything, but to sum up, again, rest in peace to the victims. Again, like I said in the beginning, those 2 GoFundMes I'll put in the description below. There's multiple ones you could donate to, but the ones that I pulled up were the Buffalo 514 Survivors Fund and the Texas Elementary School Shooting Victims Fund. Both verified,
and
legit.
I'll see if I could find the numbers that I found with petitions that give resources. If you could include that.
Yeah, give me that, because then exactly. Guys, again, just there's so many ways. The beautiful thing about the internet has good and bad things, but one of the beautiful things about the internet and social media and our phones is that we have a microphone. Everyone has kind of a platform to speak, even if you have 10 followers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we have access.
So speak up. If it's obviously, you want to do more than just thoughts and prayers and stuff like that, but just do everything you can. That you truly feel like you're capable of doing. It's, again, doing something is always better than doing nothing.
Yep.
And in the future, anyone that might be watching this, especially if we end up reaching a bigger audience, we would love to have experts in Black Lives Matter, stuff like that, or Black issues, or experts in shooting, mass shooting issues and stuff like that, gun reform, political advocates, stuff like that. We wanted to have all this stuff, so it's not going to only be me and Noel.
No.
I'm
sure you guys get sick of that.
Yes. So to wrap that up, there's GoFundMes. Rest in peace to the victims, and much love to the family and friends and anybody that has been affected by what has happened.
Sending our love, and we know thoughts and prayers will never be enough.
Yep.
So that's why we're doing this.
Fuck anyone that is a gun lover, like what we just talked about. Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ plus lives matter.
Black Lives Matter. Don't please do not comment all lives matter. Please.
Stupid.
And also, you are loved, whoever you are watching this.
Right.
Speaking broader, I love you.
Yes, always could reach out to us. Alright, but that's to finish up that stuff out. Now, before we end the episode, we are excited to, we talked about the first episode. We are going to be, by next week, in California for the SMA conference. So excited. We will be doing the conference. The episode from the conference.
We're doing a special.
Yes.
Episode. A lot of special guests.
Yeah. So we just wanted to say, obviously, not trying to go too much into it because we want to devote this episode to this.
Yeah.
But if you're going to be there, look for us. Again, our socials are going to be in the description below as well. The ending screen. But we're gonna be there. We got some surprises for it.
And we want to meet you.
And we're definitely while I'm glad that we talked about this, we're definitely excited to be, I guess, a little bit more, not talking. What I'm trying to say, a little bit more less traumatic,
Just so
less
what you can
traumatic.
expect for next week.
Yeah.
It won't be like this, but this was necessary.
Yeah.
You could expect a little more lighter.
Back to our normal show, kind of.
Yeah.
But this won't be. I promise you, this obviously won't be the last time we talk about stuff like this. It is very important to us, and we love you guys.
We love you.
We love most of you, not the toxic.
Yeah,
ones. Not the toxic ones.
We love the good ones.
Yeah. But yeah.
Thank you for listening.
Anything else you want to say? We good?
I think we're good. We covered it all.
Right,
Thank
cool.
you guys so much. Sending love, sending peace, sending joy.
Yes.
Take the time to learn.
Yes.
And see you next time.
Yeah, see you guys next week.
Very excited for it.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting.
Yeah, thank you.
And again, support all the people we talked about today and those situations.
Please.
And you guys always got a friend in us. So, yeah.
Always.
But thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Peace. Bye. All right.
I burped a lot.
Not really.